Hello. So we have discussed about the product bundles earlier, and now the next thing that we will need to do is see how do we create a product bundle. So we understand that a sales rep will have the option of configuring the product uh, for the quote line item, right? And that's something which is being controlled in the backend by the product bundle, right? So which products are available to be sold or to be uh, included in the quote line item as a single group of products, or the bundle is what we are calling it. So that's something which needs to be created actually, right? So someone has to go ahead and create the bundle. So today in this particular webinar we are mostly gonna talk about creating the bundle. Okay. So before we start creating the bundle, a quick refresher of what we have discussed so far. So we have spoken about product bundle. So and let's understand the composition of the product bundle. So um, three key things in a product bundle, which basically forms the product bundle, are parent, the bundle parent, which is a product, product options, which are again products, which are like child products. Okay. So you have the parent and then you have the child products. And the third thing that we have is, of course, the uh, option to group those product options, because there can be a long list of product options. So to group the options, we have this thing called product features. Okay, so product feature is not exactly a product, but it is a way of grouping. So it helps you put your products into different sections. Okay, so these are the main components of the product bundle. Now, if we understand this, we are good to go ahead and get started with for creating a product bundle. Okay, so let's take a simple example, and I'm actually gonna take an example which most of us can relate to. And uh, you know different companies sell different products, and they can have different ways of configuration and different features in those products. So for the understanding of the entire group, what we'll do is we'll take an example which we all can understand, and I'm actually going to take an example of a desktop computer. Parts of the computer are known to all of us. We understand what are the different parts of the computer. And if you do a configuration, or if you create a bundle of different products which form collectively a full computer, that will be easier for us to understand. Okay, so before I go into Salesforce, let me quickly show you the kind of bundle that we want. Okay, so this is how actually you are going to go about creating a bundle. You will have to understand the structure of the bundle, the hierarchy of the bundle, the components which are going to be part of the product bundle. So that's something which you have to obviously understand before you can actually start creating that bundle within Salesforce. Okay, so before I come into this thing, I'll talk about this part. Let's have a quick look at how does the configuration screen look. Okay, so there's something which we have discussed earlier, but just for a quicker understanding, we'll quickly look at the screen. The configuration page is what we call it. So let's quickly look at the configuration page once, and then it will be easy for us to understand what sort of a product bundle or what all features of the product bundle we are talking about. So let's quickly try and add a product here. Because I go to a quote and then I try to add a product here, and I would just take any of the product. This laptop is something which we have selected earlier. We had chosen this one earlier, so I'll take this one, and then get started with it. So, okay, this is what we have. Okay. All right. Did you notice one small thing? The moment I select this one, okay, now it's automatically, including the product and not asking me. It's not taking me to the configuration page. It's not letting me choose, right? The reason for that is because there's some settings which has been changed for this particular product in the backend, where the default setting has been picked for it. Okay, so that is it. So for this particular product, I have disabled the ability for this, like, the end user or the sales rep to be able to configure or to be able to choose which uh, child product or which options he wants to pick. Okay, but if we go for some other product, then we will have that option. So if I choose another laptop, say this one, you see I have the option. Okay, so again, that's something which is within your control, whether you want the sales rep to customize those options, because sometimes you may just want to disable that feature, that okay, fine, this is the complete set of product which automatically comes, and you don't want your sales rep to actually go and choose that. So that is there. Okay, so talking about this one, okay, if we look at this one, this is basically about a laptop, and then we have got the processor, memory, storage, and then we have got options under everything, right? And now what is going to happen, the sales rep is actually going to choose from these options which are available under the different features, right? Okay, so now what do we do here? Okay, so what do we do here? We would basically go ahead and um, make our selections. All right, but now what is that we need to understand is this bundle has been created by someone. So this bundle, if you look at it, what does it include? It includes uh, the parent product. These are the features: the processor, memory, storage, and these are the options. There's the option. These are the options. Okay, so now once we understand this, let's quickly go back and see what sort of configuration or what sort of a bundle we want to create, and then we will use that in the quote line item. We'll try and add our own product bundle to a quote. Okay, so before we start adding anything on Salesforce, it's better for you to understand what products and all. Of course you will have those you will have the understanding of those bundles in some other format before you start setting those things or you start creating those bundles in Salesforce. Okay, so here I have a small table. Okay, and this is about about a desktop computer, and it has got all the options and the features and the categories listed. Okay, so let me understand it this way. So if this is a desktop computer. Okay, so my desktop computer, when I'm selling, there are two categories of uh, child products, I would call it. We have here hardware and software. Under hardware, I have got processor, memory. So this part, the category part, let's not worry much about it for now, because we are just talking about the parent product options and features. I'll come to this category part. Okay, but just from the understanding perspective, for how the different components of the bundle are structured, let's understand this. So under hardware, I have got processor, memory, storage, input device, monitor, printer. So let's say these are the different features. Again, in processor, I have got this option, and then under memory, I have got the options, and then I have got options under storage, input device, in the monitor, printer. Software, again, I've got two different features: operating system and antivirus, and then a few options there. Okay, so now this is what I want to be available for my sales team. Okay, now this is the bundle that I want to create, or this is the bundle that I'm trying to create. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see how it works. Now if I have to go here, the first thing that I should be doing is I would need to add I'll need to start with the first parent product, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. You may have an existing product also. I'm just creating a new product for understanding, but you may have an existing product also, and one of the existing product can be acting as the parent of the bundle. So I simply go and add a new product, and I will call it desktop computer um, new. Okay, that's just a name because already there is an existing desktop computer product. So I just name it desktop computer new. I can give a product code for it. Descom new, whatever. Okay. Okay, and let me keep this product as active also. Okay. So this is the first product that I had to create, and I have already created the product. Okay. Now, what is that we need to do? The next thing is we have to look at the features and the options. So what are the features that we are talking about? Let's have a quick look at it. Okay. The features that we are talking about are processor, memory, storage, input device, monitor, printer. So these are the features. Okay. And under each feature, you have the options. Okay. So, you can go either way. You can basically, start adding the product options to the product, and then, assign the features to the options, but that is going to be a longer way. So it's better you decide on the features first. So that's the reason why I was talking about understanding the structure first. Now once I understand the structure, I know which all features are going to be part of this, and then I should be able to create, while creating the option itself, I should be able to quickly pick which feature that option is associated to. Okay, so okay, so we have got processor, memory, storage, input device, monitor, and printer. Okay, cool. So now this is your product. Once once you're on uh, the detail page of the product, you can go to the related tab. Now feature is a related list under the product object. Okay, so there is another object I spoke about earlier. I spoke about that there are several custom objects which are part of the Salesforce CPQ. So product feature is another object which is associated to the product. So what you need to do is you just need to go to the related list and look at features. So right now there are 0 features to added to it. Let me go ahead and add a few features. Okay, so what is the first feature? First feature is processor. Okay, now when you are adding the features, you have the option of putting a number along with it. So let's say processor is a feature. Now I need to put a number for it. What is this number for? This number is basically for sequencing. Okay, in which order your features would appear on the configuration page. That's what this product feature is doing. Okay, now when you are numbering this, of course you can number it like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can definitely do that. So the one which is having a number 1 will, are you all able to hear me? Am I audible? Can you just quickly confirm? Okay, thanks. So the number is basically, the sequence number. So it can be 1, 2, 3, 4 and all. Okay. So now what happens here is when you are putting these numbers, so say I put 1 for processor and 2 for memory. Next feature that I'm gonna add is memory, and third one can be storage. I can basically use the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 also. Okay. So it will basically sort it in that particular, ascending order. So that is how it would work. But it will be a good thing if you, instead of putting 1, if you start putting something like 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. Now the reason why I say that, instead of putting 1, 2, 3, 4, put 10, 20, 30, 40. The reason is simple. In case you, at a later point of time, let's say, right now you don't have a, you have 5 features. Later on, you decide that you will add, say, a few more features, say 4 more features you want to add, and some of those features, one of those features need to be between, say, the first and the second one. Then you can basically, put a number between 11 to 19 for that particular feature. Got that? So that ways, it makes things easier for you. So whenever you are numbering something, whenever you are defining sequence, it's not just for this. There are several other, uh, things in Salesforce where you have the option of sequencing. So it's always a good habit to sequence by 10, 20, 30, 40, so that in case there is something which has to get between two existing things, you simply can put a number between that 10 and 20 or 20 and 30. Between that you can put a number, and without changing everything else. Otherwise you will have to change the sequence for everything, which will become difficult. Okay, so I'll put 10 here. Okay, let me say memory. I'll put 20 for this. And what is the third one? So I have processor, I've got memory, I have got storage. I will put 30 for this. And then I have got hard drive. This will be 40. And then I say input device. Can be 50. And parallelly, you see the category also. If you see here, you have the category also. I'm going to talk about it a little later, but where and how do we define the categories? So that's something which we'll discuss later. But if if you have the categories defined, you can simply keep on choosing that also here at the time of defining the feature. The reason why I don't want to start with the category, because we have not spoken much about category earlier, and at this point of time I don't want you to get confused with too many things. So yeah, so let it be. So input device is another feature, and what else? Input device, and then what was the other one? There was a printer and a monitor. Monitor can be 60 and printer can be 70. Okay. All right. So all the features got added. Okay. Some of you may be thinking that, okay, fine, do we need to do all these things manually for all the products that we have? Obviously, no, right? What is this? It is simply an object. And like any other object in Salesforce, you can put data in bulk also. So once you have got all these things sorted, you can simply import the data in bulk. So that's how it can be handled. Okay, so a company which will have thousands of different product bundles and all, they are not going to sit and do it manually. Okay, but right now the reason why we are doing it, because we need to understand how it is working. All right. Okay, so fine. I think we have got 7 features included. So here, if you look at it, you've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 sequences there. Okay, good. Now what's the next thing? Let's go back to our product hierarchy and look at it. Okay, so under processor we have got multiple options which are available. What we need to do now, we just need to go ahead and add those options. Okay, and same way for same for different features, the same way we can keep on adding different options. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So first thing we start with is the processor feature. So okay, fine. Now what you need to do is you will go to options. Okay, so you're back on your product main page. Go to the related tab, go to the options, and start adding options here. Okay, now you can type and search for the option. So we have got this as an option. Okay, same thing again, when you're adding the options, again you have the same thing available. The number is actually going to define the sequence for it. So that's how you go about it. So this will be 10 and okay. Now here you can basically choose if that particular option is required. If you select required, it's going to be a mandatory option. It will always be sold along with that particular product. Okay, if it's not mandatory, then you can just leave it as it is. Selected will mean that it will be selected on the configuration page by default. Otherwise, the sales rep will have to select it. Quantity, you can define a default quantity for it, and you also can give the option for editing the quantity. Okay, so if I say that, okay, fine, there are 2 keyboards that need to be there by default, so you can put that also. So if you say 2, by default 2 quantity will be selected with each computer. Sometimes that can be the case, that okay, fine, the additional product or the child product may be required multiple quantity. Okay, so that you can put here. Okay, and you have the option of allowing the sales rep to edit the quantity, or simply just don't allow the sales rep to edit the quantity, whatever works for you. So that is it. I'll just keep it 1, and I'll say not editable. If it is available, then configuration page you will have the option to edit the quantity for each feature, sorry, each option. So that is there. Now the other thing that you have to do is you have to choose which feature is this. Okay, so yeah, this is processor. Okay, so this is the processor, and you say save a new. Same way, what you can do is you add another 2.2 gigahertz processor, put it as 20 processor. Got it. Okay, and the same way you choose another one. This is missing. All right. So same way, what you can do is you can actually go ahead and keep on adding all the options. So now you understand the connect. So the important part here is we need to understand the connect. So there is this parent bundle or the bundle parent. The bundle parent, the key, the lead product is what we sometimes call it. Okay, the lead product will have features, and then the features can be associated to multiple options, right? So you can have multiple options under each feature. Okay, so that is the thing. So I'm not gonna add all of those, but same way, of course we can go ahead and add all those options here. I'm not gonna add all of those here, uh, because that will be taking too much of time. The other thing that I want you to understand is the category part of it. Okay, now let's talk about the category. Now what happens sometimes is you have the options. Now if you look at it, you do have the options. Okay, and what you have done, you have grouped your options into features. Okay, now sometimes it may happen that there is a product that you're trying to sell, and there are a lot of features. If you look at it, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 features as well. We already have got 8 features, right? Okay, yeah, so we already have 8 features here. Say there are 20. Now sometimes what may happen is you know you may need to categorize or group the features also, right? So like in this case, the hardware features and the software features. Okay, and then again under feature we have got the options. So now what happens is there is this field called category. Category is basically a field in the product feature object. Okay, so category is not a separate object as such, like the way product feature is a separate object, option is a separate object. Category is not actually a separate object, it's just a field that is there on the product feature object, and it basically allows you to create groups or types of features. Okay, so it's simply a pick list sort of thing. So now let's see, how do we add categories? So we already have that hardware and software category, but in case I want to add a few more categories to it, how would I do it? So for category, as I told you, this is simply a field on the product feature object. So what you need to do is, now this is where a bit of understanding of the Salesforce data model is required, and I'm assuming most of us understand that. So we'll simply go to the object manager and go to the product feature object, and then manage the categories there. So I go to object manager, and here we have the product feature object. Where it is? Here it is. Okay, so it's a custom object, and I'll go to fields and relationships for it. And the first field that we see here is category, and it's a pick list. Okay, so now how to add values to a pick list is something which ideally we should be knowing. Right, so in addition to hardware, software, if I say accessories, just in case. Right, okay. Now a small thing that we have to understand, again, because we are talking about different things, what we need to understand, category is a metadata, right? It's not the records, whereas your options and features are records. Those are records in the object, right? So feature can be different. I mean, you can have different set of feature for every product, but category, because it's a metadata, it's going to be same throughout your range of products. So for the entire range of product, it's not that, okay, fine, for my for laptops I will say different categories, for desktop I'll say different category. That's the reason why I would not put category as a component in the bundle, right? It's more of a metadata, and it's a way of for you to control the grouping of the features, right? So it's slightly different. It's outside that, and it's going to be the same set of categories that you define, and which is going to be basically applicable for all your product bundles. Okay, so it's going to be same across your entire range of products or the product bundles. Okay, fine. So now that we understand how to create a particular bundle, so I have got a similar bundle created uh, already with all these options. So now let's go ahead and see how it looks. So I'll just go to one of the opportunities, and I'll go to the quote and try to add a product here. So there's this product called desktop. Let me search for it. Okay. Select the product. Okay. And as I told you, I already have this one, which is available. So we have got the different features, and then under each feature we have got different options. So this is how it would uh, this is how the configuration page would this is how the configuration page uh, is going to look once you set up all those options under the product bundle, and link those to the different features. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, so this is basically about adding the options and features to the product bundle. So we just decide on the lead product. Now all that you have to do is you simply have to start with a particular product. So it's as simple as for lead product, any product can be a lead product, so you don't have to do anything for for picking a product as a lead product. So you simply choose that product, and you start defining features and options for that. That's it. Okay, so that is how it works. So there is no difference between a lead product and a child product, just that they are actually related to each other. Okay, and they are part of the bundle. So that is how it is. Okay, the next thing that we will discuss is we talked about it earlier a little, that you know when there are multiple uh, products which are included in the quote line item as a single quote line item. Okay, so uh, sometimes it may get a little difficult for someone who is looking into the quote to understand exactly what is included in that particular um, product, right? Or in that particular quote line item. So for example, just looking at the line item, you may not be able to understand uh, what is the storage which is included, what is the memory which is included. Okay, so for that, for that understanding, we have got something, and this is something which we discussed in one of our earlier webinars. Um we have got uh, something called configured code. Now, what is a configured code? It's basically the unique code for the product bundle. Okay, and how does it help? It looks something like this. Okay, now this will basically help you understand Looking at this, you can understand that this is a 2.8 gigahertz processor. It's a 16 GB RAM. It's a 512 GB hard drive. Okay, so this is a configured code. So configured code is a unique code for that particular combination of products. Okay, for a certain type of bundle. Got this? Okay. Now, if I have to set up this code, and this code you can set up. I mean, this is all what you have to, you have to define. You can define, how do you want this code to appear? Something that you can understand. You can basically have your own naming convention or that structure. Okay. Now, how do we do that? Let's look at that configured code part of it. So I'll go to the product. Okay, let me take this particular product. Okay. Now, another thing that we saw some time back, we saw that, for this particular product, 15-inch monitor, not this one, 15-inch laptop is what we need to go into. Okay. Yeah. For this particular product, 15-inch laptop, you might have noticed that, the moment we select this product, it automatically takes some default setting, some default options, and it gets included in the line item. It's not giving that option to configure. Okay. The reason is configuration type is disabled right now. Okay. So if you want to disable the configuration type, so basically what will happen if you disable it, if you just choose this one, this is basically going to be on the parent product or the lead product. So if you disable it, what will happen the moment a parent is selected, all the options will be automatically selected. The default options will get included automatically in the quote line item. Okay, and the sales rep will not have this option to choose, right? If so, if I go to a quote right now, there's a 15-inch laptop product right now that I have. If I go to a quote right now and I try to add this, right now, if I try to add this, say select, see, did not give me the option to configure. Reason, this is disabled. What you need to do, in case you want to allow your, so sometimes what will happen, you create a bundle, you don't want your sales rep to configure or customize that. What do? You simply disable this. Now let me allow this. Okay, now it's allowed. Now again, if I try to add that product, this is the product, I guess. Yes. Now I get the option to configure. Correct. Okay. So all right. So you have the option of controlling whether you want you want your sales rep to be able to configure the products, or to be able to configure the bundle or not. So that is there. Now what we are gonna do next is we are basically gonna define a configured code which will help us understand uh, what is basically the uh, combination, or what sort of options have been included in a particular bundle, right? So for that, what we are going to do, we'll simply go ahead and create a configured code. Okay, so before we can create before we go ahead and start creating the configured code, let us understand this. So here again you have to understand the structure of it, and you have to create that structure based on what sort of naming convention you want to use. Okay, so if you look at it, this code has got uh, 1 2 3 4 sections, right? 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, first section is indicating whether it's a laptop or desktop. Second section is indicating which processor. Third section indicates which RAM. Fourth section indicates which hard drive. Simple. Okay, you can have more sections. Okay, so that's what we have here. Now, for this entire configuration of for the entire bundle code, the configured code is the code of the entire bundle. Okay, so before you can generate this will be automatically generated based on the code that you define for each of these options. These are what? These are options, right? So all that you need to do is you just need to go ahead and define a code. It's that simple. So you define a shortcut or a short code for each of your option. That's number one. Okay. So for this, for processor, you define what will be the short code for each of the options. Like for 2.8 gigahertz processor, it can be P28. For a 2.5 gigahertz processor, it can be P25. Okay, so you define a short code for each option. That's that's one thing that you have to do. And the other thing that you have to do is you simply have to define a formula for this combination. That's it. Okay, so you have to define the template for that particular code here. That's it. This needs to be done on the parent or on the lead product. Okay, and all these things basically need to be done on the product option. So the short code for each product option needs to be defined, and then on the lead product you have to define the complete formula. Okay, as simple as that. So these are two things that we have to do. So now we know what sort of uh, short code we are going to use. So we will simply go ahead and define this. I'll take the same example and we will do this. So I'm on this particular product, 15-inch laptop, related list. I go into this. Now I can go to this particular option. Okay, and say edit. And we have to define the code for it. Just give me a moment. We will define the code under this. Okay, so yeah, this is the option that we are working with, and you have under advanced setting you have the component code. So what you need to do is simply you just need to go ahead and put a code for it. So what is this product? 2.2 gigahertz. So I would say P22. You can put whatever you want. Now this is your choice. Okay, so I say this one. Okay, and component code position. So code position can be 1 2 3 4. I'll tell you why this is important. This position is something which you will use in the formula. Okay, so for that reason you just put a position. So I just put it 1. Save this. Okay, all right, now I'll go ahead and same way include component code for this one. This is 2.5 gigahertz, so I can say P25. This is also going to be position 1. Okay, so all the because see what will happen is in your entire configuration you will have one processor, right? So all processors can be 1. you can basically, the position of all the processors can be one, right? So if you look at the component code that we were discussing, um, okay, let me quickly show that for easy understanding. So if you look at it, this is one, right? So all the processors can be one, all the RAM or the storage options can be two, and this can be three. Okay, and your formula can be something like lap 1 2 3. So that's how you can basically put it. Okay. So I've put this one, and the next thing that I will do is I'll put the component code for RAM also. For RAM, I say R8. There's 8 GB RAM. Yes. For RAM, position can be 2. Okay. And save this. 16 GB RAM. Component code will be R16. Position is 2. Save this. Okay. And same thing we can do for storage also. Okay. So for storage, 256 storage, I would say H256, and this is position 3, and this what? This is okay. So one more, this needs to be selected. This 256, where is 512 GB? Okay, 512 GB is here. Yeah. So this is a product option, 512 GB. Yes. And there's also 3. Okay. So that's what we have. Okay. Now what you need to do is you have defined the short codes for all the options, right? Now the complete configured code for that entire bundle needs to be created. Now for that, what you need to do, you basically will need to go to the lead product. Okay, so go to the lead product. This is my lead product. Click on edit. Okay, now here you will have the option of putting a configured code pattern. Okay, and your configured code pattern can be whatever static text you want to include, and then the numbers 2 3. Okay, so it's a simple formula. So it will basically display lap, and then whatever is the value of 1. So the value of 1 is basically the processor which has been selected. This will be the RAM which is selected, and this is going to be the hard drive which is selected. All right, so that's basically the pattern. Now click on save. Okay, now let's see if it works. So I'll go to quotes. And let me go to a different quote. Here is the quote, edit lines, add product. This is the product. Select this. Okay. So I'm selecting 2.5 gigahertz processor, 8 GB RAM, and 512 GB or 256 GB hard drive. Okay. Save this. Okay. So this is the bundle, right? Now, if you look at it, see this one? Okay. Now, if you see, what has happened is, it is not showing us that processor thing. So possibly the processor that we selected, because there are three options. I guess we defined the code for only two. So for one, I guess the short code is not defined. That's the reason why that's not appearing here. Uh, okay, let's quickly check if that is the case. Okay, so it has not taken the processor. It is showing us the code for the RAM and hard disk. Let me quickly check what is wrong there, what we have done wrong. I'll quickly check. Okay, now it's working fine, and now it's okay. So we'll try and add this one more time. I'll tell you where exactly the mistake was, but before that, let's quickly add one more product and see if it looks properly on the code line item, the configured code. So it's gonna be, this is the product. Okay, I select this one and I will go with 2.2 gigahertz CPU, 8 GB RAM, and 256 GB hard disk. Okay, let me click on save. Okay, now it's looking absolutely fine. Okay, so this is the template, or this is the pattern that you defined. Okay, so the static part of it, whichever processor you have selected, it will take the short code for it, then the short code for the RAM and the short code for the hard drive. Okay, now what was wrong with this? Basically, the pattern that we defined, there was a mistake in the bracket. So it has to be a curly bracket, and it was a normal bracket which was put in there. So that's something which was not working properly. So if you're on this, uh, so you have to be careful with the bracket that you're using, and that's it. Okay, so that's it. So that's how you basically create a bundle, and that's how you set up a configured code for it. All right, so that's what we will be discussing. Thank you.